Hello. It has been a little while since I went live, and I wanted to pop in here to talk about something. Um, it's so funny. I haven't been live as much because we've been having some work done here at the house, and it feels like banging or loud noises might interrupt um, anything I'm sharing. And today I thought it's a snow day. No workers will show up. And sure enough, kids are home, and I saw our lovely, hardworking, sweet painter walking up the driveway in a blizzard. So everyone's here. You might hear banging or kids or dogs, but that's okay. What I want to talk about today is about the idea about the right person. Now, this definitely comes up for people looking for a relationship or even in their relationship. It also comes up, say, the right person for the job, employers, friends. So I want to dig into what traps we might face when we think about this kind of mythology of the right person and bring in a concept that might make a little bit more space and might be a better way to think about things, might empower you to have those better connections and better relationships. And that is not that there is a right person, but that there is a right environment. So I find this especially for myself when I've thought about my partnership and what it has provided for me. It was really the right environment for me to work on myself, to work on my wounding, to work on creating the relationship that I wanted. There was something about it being the right environment. So I want to talk about how that kind of comes about for us and what to look for. But if we think about it like a plant, so there are many amazing flora in this world, and they all thrive in different environments. There is no one right plant. There is no one perfect plant. They all bring something to the table, but they don't all grow well in the same environment. So imagining trying to plant a cactus in a rainforest. You may think the rainforest would have everything, such water and such light and such dense nourishment that anything could thrive there. Excuse me, but certainly not a cactus. A cactus needs the dry. That's what it was built for. That's what it was made for. So people are very much the same way. And I believe sometimes we fall into the trap that maybe there is just one person and we're searching for that one person. But that's not truly the case. I'd like to believe that there is more than one person who can love you and support you in any which way that you desire to feel that and experience that and give your love. And I like to think about that. So for instance, if you take grapes, so say Pinot Noir is can only thrive in certain environments, but there are pockets all around the world in which it does thrive. And maybe you prefer an Oregon Pinot, or maybe you prefer something from France. They each have their own flavor, taste that, but they're so specific to one environment. There are pockets everywhere in which they can grow. And I believe that is the same with you as a person. There are many places in which you can thrive, not just one. So getting away from that trap. And certainly it's a romantic notion that there is one. And I do believe also in some ways that kind of, if it's what you've chosen, if it's what is working for you, it is the one. But it isn't necessarily such a great strategy to be searching for the one. I also want to pull in this thread of how this can also work when we talk about lately so much toxicity. I also believe that there is no just straight toxic person. I believe that there are toxic environments. There are toxic combinations of people. There are ways in which someone's wounds trigger another person's wounds. They know that there are certainly wounded people that can seem more toxic to others, but that also just exists in its chamber, in its environment. That instead of labeling and objectifying that one person, there actually may be environments in which they thrive, in which they actually contribute. It just doesn't have to be your environment, right? And that instead of just objectifying and labeling people as toxic, just know that it's not the right environment for you two to grow together, and that is totally fine. And we also objectify this idea of the right person, that when we're searching for the right person in a relationship, in our business, in our friendships, that we tend to forget that they are human. We tend to glorify them, and that can come with a whole host of problems, possibly when things do not quite line up, as something always does, somewhere in your values or hopes, or that you don't objectify them and place them kind of on a pedestal. But just remember that everyone is human, and even if they are what seems like a really great fit for you, there will be times that that is challenged, and that is where the juice of the relationship does come from, to learn and grow together. When we're also looking for the right person, we can get caught in chemistry, we can get caught in signs, and imagining because there is this initial spark romantically or sexually that this must be the right person for me. And we can start to get caught up in that chemistry, not purely get to be ourselves, not get to be grounded, not get to be present, but trying to please them or make them, as you put them up on this pedestal, possibly. And you may even begin to worry, like, can I screw it up? I screwed it up with this perfect person, with this right person for me. And I love what Alison Armstrong says about this is, if they are the one, is it possible that you could you possibly screw it up with the one? That just doesn't seem rational or logical. If they are the one, then you wouldn't be able to screw it up, right? So, and that you may be pulled through chemistry or through a spark or through signs to be in a relationship with someone or a friendship that isn't actually meant for the long term. Things change, people change, situations change, and maybe you were meant to be in that experience just for the short term. So maybe you're getting the signs, but and they are the right person, but not for a long-term relationship or friendship. And just trusting that the lessons you learn and really being present with yourself through the process and growing, that is a form of right, and that is a form of perfection. Just because it doesn't last forever doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. And one way to kind of look at that is, as we're talking about these landscapes or these environments that are prime for things to grow, even the right plant in the perfect conditions could go through a drought or a storm, could be completely wiped out in its perfect environment. And a season later, the something else may grow back. Something may have changed genetically, or the strongest has survived from that storm. Even though everything was wiped out, what comes next may grow back even stronger. So keeping that in mind too, of things that just don't seem like they're panning out, but they will come back stronger. And I want to come back to this idea of me feeling like I was in this right environment with my partner, and that with my former partner, it was not the right environment. That the environment had gotten to be a little bit more difficult, or maybe not toxic, but it wasn't, things weren't being nourished and supported on both sides in order for it to thrive and grow. That sometimes things can start out really well and then shift and change, and the environment just isn't what both people need in order to thrive. And that's where certainly we can work on improving the environment, right? And sometimes we fall into that trap of believing with the right person we don't have to do any of that work. That if we just plant some things somewhere and we let it rain, that it'll be taken care of. But sometimes we need to put in a little irrigation. Sometimes we need to do a little fertilizing, right? And that's what really made my partner and I, the connection, the right environment, is that we were both committed to this piece of land. There were times that I could think about ways in which I acted or struggles I had that other people maybe weren't the right people to stick around and hold me through that and to grow and develop with. But he had invested in this piece of land, and together we decided to till that soil. And that's one way of thinking with this right environment. Are we both making the investments? Are we both willing to keep putting work into this land, because the benefits, the abundance does come, does make it worth it. And certainly there might be storms, or there might be lean years when it comes to a harvest, but overall, we are both thriving and helping each other thrive and wanting the best for each other. And just like working on your garden can be so taxing, it feels so good. It's the right kind of work. You feel satisfied after a day digging in the dirt, feeling it in your hands. You feel satisfied knowing that you built something and you created something. And that's the kind of work that I've discovered is the right kind of work in relationship. So that's just a few things I wanted to share about hopefully not getting stuck in the trap of the right person or the one. But how can you find the right environment? How can you know that there are multiple positive ways that multiple different people can fit into these roles in your life, and that by continuing to do the work yourself and wanting the best for the person you're working with, that you can create the right environment for you both to thrive. So that's all I have for today. I hope that was helpful. Certainly, if you feel it was, or you want to discuss it more, reach out to me. I'd be happy to chat, and enjoy the rest.